Chapter 17. The Prostitute. And one of the 7 Anunnaki Elohim, who was Malachi Zodok, who had with him one of the 7 vials, to pour the wrath of Theos onto the planet Earth, came and spoke with me, John, son of Zebedee and Salome, saying, Come here, I will show the judgments of the great harlot New Babylon, America, called the harlot because she revels in the lifestyle and ways of the inhabitants of its shores, that sits upon the many waters, showing the vast extent of her influence. It is also symbolic of the Statue of Liberty, which is a representation of the harlot who sits on the waters of the Hudson River, or Hud's son. Hud was a descendant of Utnapishtim, Noah, by way of his son Shem. We was sent to the tribe of Ad, who were also descendants of Noah by way of Shem. The people of Ad were a powerful nation, but they were idol worshippers and they committed all sorts of wickedness. They, like the inhabitants of New York, constructed great, tall pillars of stone and built upon them tall edifices to their idols. In the end they were destroyed by a powerfully strong, cold wind that blew for 7 straight days and nights throughout the land. Ishtar, star, daughter of Sin, whom the rulers of the planet Earth, representing the red and black Arabs, not the many so-called Arabs who inhabit the Arab countries today, but the Nubians here in the Western Hemisphere, who are the true black Arabs. None of those Indians, so-called red Arabs, who now rule Saudi Arabia, are the real Arabs. They are only East Indians who took over Mecca. The red Arabs call themselves kings, but it is really the black Arabs who are the true rulers of the planet Earth, who committed fornication with the harlot and became drunk from the intoxicant, a poison to the system of her fornicating place, the United States of America on the planet Earth. And he advanced with me, John, son of Zebedee and Salome, to the wilderness of North America in the soul, traveling in the spiritual form. So I, John, son of Zebedee and Salome, saw a confidant wife sitting upon a beast, the evil one's empire headed by the United States of America through the United Nations, colored red, as the robe of the Queen of England, the mother of America, manipulating and controlling it, and names of blasphemy such as God, Jehovah, Jah, Al-Lot, deity, etc. He, the beast representative of the evil one's empire headed by the United States and the EEC, common market, had 7 heads, being England, Russia, France, Germany, Spain, Italy, and the United States, and 10 horns, being England, Spain, Germany, Russia, Hungary, Italy, Greece, Turkey, and the United States. And the confidant wife, Babylon, the Great, the harlot queen, arrayed in purple and red color, the colors of a harlot, also the chief color worn by popes and cardinals, and with golden ornaments with gold and precious stones and pearls she hides her face, all of the evils that she does behind wealth, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and impurities of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written. This name is pornography, that is secret because she has disguised herself as something great, but in effect she is the product of all the evil one's empires which came before her, the big Babylon, mother of all pornography and abominations of the planet Earth. America is the home of all kinds of perversions, incest, rape and bestiality. And I, John, son of Zebedee and Salome, saw the confidant wife drunk from the blood of the holy ones, meaning that the harlot has persecuted and killed the righteous just because they were righteous, and from those who bear witness to the Messiah Jesus. So I, John, son of Zebedee and Salome, was amazed when I saw her great wonders. So the Anunnaki Elohim said to me, Why are you so amazed? I will inform you about the confidant wife's secret, and the beast who carries it for her, who has the 7 heads and the 10 horns. The devil's empire keeps the harlot's secret. Whenever the harlot, the United States, commits any kind of atrocity, her compatriots look the other way. All the nations of the world protect the United States' reputation as a world power. As for the beast, the United Nations headed by the United States, which you saw, he was old Babylon, and he is not existing now in the time of John, son of Zebedee and Salome, yet is determined to come again and is now here. He will ascend from the bottomless pit on June 6, 1966 AD to give birth to mortal sons. This is the year that the evil one and his agents began to destroy the Nubian race spiritually, mentally, and physically on a large scale. In the year 1966 AD, the devil, Satan, Lucifer, gave birth to 13 children. His sons were born in every country that he controls: America, Germany, Iran, India, and China, to name a few, all over the world. On June 6, 1966 AD, one of Satan's 13 sons was born in the Western Hemisphere, in New York City. You, the Nubian populace, did not even know what was going on because they kept everything cloaked under some type of disguise. The devil has camouflaged these factual events in a series of movies, and has told you the truth without you even realizing it. He purposely puts everything that he is doing right in front of your face. You are just so far under the spell that you are not able to see it. The first movie that dealt with the birth of his son was Rosemary's Baby. a movie that half of the population in America saw, but just looked at it as sheer entertainment. On June 6, 1966 AD, Satan was born in the flesh unto Rosemary in New York, or the New York in the Dakota House. New York is the new capital of America that the European family York established in the 1800s AD from Yorktown, England. New York is the seat for the Statue of Liberty, which is symbolic of the Queen of England. The Statue of Liberty is a woman coming out the water with 7 horns, holding the torch. The Statue of Liberty was given to America by the Grand Orient of France. It was originally called Liberty Enlightening the World. It was given as a gift from the French to the American people to honor the 1876 AD centennial celebration. The exterior copper shell, in the form of a classical, draped female figure carrying a torch, was designed, 1870 to 75 AD, by a French sculptor named Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi. The Masonic Lodge of France gave it to them. It was made of wood but it fell, then it was reconstructed of copper. The Statue of Liberty was unveiled in the New York harbor on October 26, 1886 AD. Now back to the point, Rosemary, of the movie Rosemary's Baby, was not a fictitious character, she was a real Amorite. The name Rosemary, Satan's mother, was chosen because it symbolizes the ancestral background of the physical devil, the Amorites. Let's break down the symbolism of the name Rosemary. Rose. The rose is a plant that can symbolize many things. The phases of its life cycle are comparable to the 4 Babylonian empires. Its beauty represents the glory and grandeur of each of these empires, its death by their decline and eventual end. Its rebirth every spring represents the rise of a new, even more glorious empire out of the ruins of its predecessors. The thorns of the rose plant represent the pain and suffering experienced by the countries that have been at the mercy of their rule. The rose is also symbolic of the War of the Roses, a war which occurred in Europe in the 1800s between 2 families, the Yorks and the Lancasters. These were 2 Amorite, cursed seeds. The Lancasters did not want to intermarry with the Yorks. Thus, a family feud occurred resulting in the Lancasters moving to America, to the south. The American so-called cracker is the paleman, who is the same as the European. The reason why the Amorites are called crackers is because during slavery they used to crack the whips across the slaves' backs. Mary. The name Mary represents the paganistic and satanic religion which they uphold, Christianity. Mary the mother of the Messiah Jesus, but in order our Christianity to falsify the Trinity concept, they used Nimrod, great Nubian king of Babylon, and his mother Semiramis, who he married. Everywhere statues appeared of Semiramis holding little Nimrod, she was accepted as the queen of heaven, Ashtarti. This is the mother as child idol, Madonna holding a baby. Her symbol became the moon. Nimrod, her husband and son, became known as Baal, the sun god, and his symbol became the sun. The devil has to set up a coven, an assembly of witches, to exercise his satanic powers. But before the coven can do this, it must consist of 12 members, with the 13th member being the devil himself. Coven, noun, an assembly of witches, from Middle English, covent, a gathering, convent. Convent, the building or buildings occupied by nuns who practice witchcraft. Middle English, from Old French, from medieval Latin conventus, from Latin a coming together, assembly, from convenire, to come together, to convene. Convene, an unlawful agreement of covine, coven, literally coming together. Convenon, noun, binding agreement made by 2 or more persons or parties, a compact, a pact as with the devil. The congregation of a coven exists predominantly in England, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, Salem, Massachusetts, Australia, New England, and South America. The Pope, who heads Italy, one of the countries controlled by the beast, the President of the United States, as well as political leaders of other countries around the world, are all a part of the Brotherhood of Satan. What they don't want to tell you is that there is a connection between the Bush and the Roosevelt family. All of them are related in some way or another. They refer to themselves as the royal family. It's not common knowledge that former Vice President Quayle is related to George Bush, not to mention Richard Brace Cheney, Secretary of Defense. You would never guess the woman they consider the sexiest woman who ever lived, yes, late President Kennedy's mistress Marilyn Monroe, which also links back to Bush, not to mention Benedict Arnold who is his 4th cousin, and Abraham Lincoln. Bush has a long line of relatives, all familiar names, people such as Betty Davis, Winston Churchill, and the Roosevelts. That is, late President Franklin D. Roosevelt and Teddy Roosevelt. If you keep looking, you'll find out that there are at least 10 other people who have had major roles in the White House that are also related to Bush. Whether it be through intermarrying, or direct bloodline, there were over 21 United States presidents that were related. This should come as no surprise. They are all intertwined. This is what the illuminated ones are all about. They intend to keep the ruling power all in the family, the royal family. Why? Because they can keep control of the country and help institute one worldism, if every ruler or what you call president feels exactly the same way. You have the relatives of Bush through marriage, in the Eisenhower family, and the Nixon family. Zachary Taylor, James Madison and James Monroe are all a part of this so-called royal clan, whose plan is to promote one worldism. The popes from the Vatican City, the Kennedy family, and the Churchill family are only a few of the devil's advocates who hold power around the world. If you would just open your eyes, you would see the baby was born right here in the United States in New York, the pit of the devil, on 72nd Street in an apartment house that has been around since the latter part of the 1800s AD. This house is popular amongst the occultists because it housed witches and warlocks. In the movie Rosemary's Baby, Adrian Marcato was the chief warlock, devil, who gained the most attention. He was born in Glasgow, Scotland in 1849 AD, and came sometime after to New York. Slinger, Roberta Flack has been a resident of the Dakota house for many years. In fact, Donny Hathaway was said to have committed suicide from her apartment window. It is still a question in many minds if he was a sacrifice to Satan. Marcato participated in the Sabbath, one of their rituals, and was one of the chief priests who conjured up the devil. He died in 1922 AD. In 1886 AD, his son Stephen Marcato was born in New York, who, not by coincidence, lived in the same apartment house as Rosemary. Later in the story, we find out that Adrian Marcato is the devil and that Rosemary's baby was named Adrian because it was he who had come from hell and manifested as part man and part beast to beget a son by a mortal woman, Rosemary. The devil knows the name you choose tells your life story, thus the name Adrian was chosen for his son. He makes it a point to disguise his nature and the reality, that he is an evil being, by choosing common names which appear to have no significance meaning. The name Adrian, Andy, is a good example of this. Adrian, a masculine given name, Middle English from Latin Adrian, Hadrianu, of the Adriatic Sea, a Roman family name. Rome is the seat of the devil and is the fourth Roman Empire, Hadria, the Adriatic Sea. Adrian stems from the word adroit, which means skillful and clever, especially in the exercise of the mental faculties, an ingenious person. So Adrian means expert, clever, skillful, and artful. These are definitely the attributes of Satan. And there are many people who know about this beastly child that was born in 1966 AD. The involvement of the Catholic Church in satanic worship is also dramatized in the film Rosemary's Baby. There is a scene in which Adrian Marcato, who is portraying the part of Satan and the Pope, the chief warlock, were directing the preparation of Rosemary for the conception of the devil's son. That visit was for 13 hours. 13 years from 1966 AD to 1979 AD. This year was called the International Year of the Child, not children, just one child. They made you think that they were concerned with all of the children, internationally, but really their primary concern was with one child, the child of the devil. This child was the one born in 1966 AD and was just 13 years old in 1979 AD. 13 is a significant year to a boy because this is the age he reaches what is called a bar mitzvah, or a coming-of-age ceremony. This child being referred to in the slogan International Year of the Child is the devil. They worship the year he became a man. They also used the King Tut exhibition so they could bring their people from all over the world to Central Park with its center at 72nd Street to worship their boy devil, their Christ the Antichrist. It is a fact that Pope Paul VI was in New York at the time of this conception. October 4, 1965 AD. Pope Paul VI visited New York under the disguise of it being a personal visit to appeal for peace to the United Nations. It is no coincidence that in the movie Rosemary's Baby, the night Rosemary was drugged to have intercourse with Satan, she is shown watching the Pope in the television at the celebration mass at Yankee Stadium. During the actual ritual, a Pope comes in with a suitcase in his hand and a coat over his arm. She kisses his ring and he forgives her, and then he hurries out to catch the plane, to return to Vatican City. He also returned on June 6, 1966 AD for the birth of the child. Pope Paul VI was the first Pope ever to come to America. And he will run toward eternal damnation since the birth of the child. The 1960s marked a time of great religious explosion as people searched for the truth. Many broke away from the confines of the basic fundamentals of Christianity and Catholicism and explored religions such as Hinduism, Sufism, Egyptology, Transcendental Meditation, Sunni Orthodox Islam, and Scientology, all simply a ploy from the evil one and his agents to divert man's attention from the return of the real Messiah. And all who dwell upon the planet Earth and who are caught up in the life of this world will wonder, those whose names are not written in the scroll of the ever-living from the beginning of the world. They marveled at this pale devil since his first appearance on the planet Earth when they looked at the beast, who is a man, which is done. The world thinks this beast is not real, but he is more real than you can imagine, and yet here he is, or is he? Whether you want to accept it or not, the evil one is very much alive and well. He is a man, a human being, planning and executing the annihilation of the seed of Kadmon, Zakar, Adam, the Nubian man. So here it is, for those who can understand it with wisdom. The 7 heads are the 7 mountains, and on them the confidant wife is sitting because she is really the head. As a beast she is the master, and there are 7 rulers. In the translation from the Ashuric Syriac, Arabic, and the original Aramaic, the phrase, "they are 7 rulers," appears in verse 9, but in the English translations, if counted, it appears in verse 10. Originally the scriptures were revealed without chapter or verse indications. This was an added innovation by men. And 5 of them have fallen. Those 5 being the first Babylonian Empire that was ruled by Nimrod, son of Cush and Semiramis, the second Babylonian Empire that was ruled by Hammurabi, the 6th ruler in the first dynasty, the Greek Empire that was ruled by Alexander the Great, the Seleucid and the Ptolemaic empires founded by Ptolemy I Soter and Seleucus I Nicator, and the Roman Empire, Imperial Rome, which was ruled by Gaius Julius Caesar. And one can be found, which is the Roman Empire that existed during John's, son of Zebedee and Salome, time, and the other one has not yet come, meaning the New Babylon, America, did not exist during John's, son of Zebedee and Salome, time, and when he comes into sight his rule will be short from 1966 AD, when the malevolent being rose from the pit, to the year 1999 AD, when the 6 is aligned, as it will on June 6, 1999 AD, which is just a short span of 33, 3 plus 3 equals 6, years. And the beast which was and is not now, meaning the Babylonian Empire existed before, cannot be found during John's, son of Zebedee and Salome, time, so he is the 8th, the 6th was the European Empire, the 7th, the New Babylonian Empire, America, and the 8th, the state of Israel that is to come out of the 7th. Out of the 7th will come the state of Israel. It is America who helped Israel become what it is today. The state of Israel is an evil killer just like the United States. The United States took the responsibility of assisting the state of Israel with military defense and also showing them how to use their firearms. Thus, it acts with all the authority of the United States because the United States backs them. The state of Israel is as much a product of the United States as the United States was a product of all the empires that came before it, and he will go towards eternal damnation. Together the United States and Israel will bring about the end of the world. And the 10 horns which you, John, son of Zebedee and Salome, saw are 10 rulers in power which have taken no kingdom yet. In John's, son of Zebedee and Salome, time these nations were not major ruling powers, however, they will get authority like rulers for 1 hour after the beast. These nations will be given kingdoms to rule in the name of the devil. They will put the pentagram on their flags and benefit from their association with the evil one's harlot, America. They will rule with one mind or purpose, to make war with the Lamb and destroy his followers and the truth. Unlike the previous empires which have already expired, these nations will enjoy their power simultaneously all at once, this for 1 hour while the harlot rules. But when the harlot falls, she will take every one of these nations with her. These are all one force. United they stand, indivisible as the United Nations, and they will push behind the beast because they are the United States allies. They make the United States feel powerful because of their association and give it its strength and its authority. These will want to kill the Lamb. These devils will be out to squash the real teachings of Al-Islam in its pristine purity. Through the media, the evil one paints an ugly picture of Islam to make people think they are inhumane and murderers. When in actuality the evil is the one who causes chaos, wars, pestilences, and famines. Everyday articles appear in the newspapers, and reports are given on television and news broadcasts to try to make all Muslims look bad. And the Lamb, the Messiah Jesus, will overcome them and be successful in the end because he is the master of the masters and the ruler of the rulers, and those who are with him, they are called cheaters, yet faithful. These are those that follow the Lamb wherever he may go. They will have their bad ways but will remain faithful. They will stay true aiders of Allah, El-Elo, Eli. Though the aiders of Allah are not the same as 144,000 pure souls, meaning they may have once lived in her lap of luxury, living deliciously in her ways. Yet, they are the only ones who in the last days will be faithful to the Most High Eli, Anu, Allah, El-Elo, Theos. The aiders of Allah are the ones who have once lived in the lifestyle of the evil one but have been taught the truth about themselves and are ready to regain the godlike quality that they were born with. They have willingly given themselves from falling from being to supreme being to human to man to mortal to mammal, to sacrificing in the way of Theos so that the 144,000 may be raised, and he, The Anunnaki Elohim said to me, John, son of Zebedee and Salome, the waters which you have seen, where the fornicator, the harlot, the new Babylon, the United States is sitting, they are kindred in nations and tongues. There are many nationalities within the shores of the United States of America. And the 10 horns which you saw in the beast, these same nations that loved her will turn and hate her. By the using of the word in instead of on lets you know that this beast that the book of Revelation talks about is referring to a place, not a thing. What once was a great romance has turned cold. The fornicator, and they will start to war and strike Ishtar, the harlot, the fornicator, until she is naked, making the whole world see her for what she really is, and they will eat her flesh and burn her in fire. For the first time ever, a world war will be fought on America's soil. Nations of the world will fight a fierce war against her, bringing destruction never felt in the shores of the USA. America's inhabitants have never experienced the degradation and loss of war as European nations have felt. It, being tucked off on the other side of the globe, has protected itself from attack. But now the very countries it has assisted financially and militarily have the artillery by which to wage an all-out war with the United States. Because Eli, El-Elo, Theos has made in their hearts to become a disease, making the nations give themselves unto the evil reptilian that is going to give their kingdom to the beast. Now it is talking about the third entity of the evil reptilian triangle, the triad of the Jebusites, the Irish, and the Italians. Just like how the United States gives power to those who do its bidding, power will now be given unto the state of Israel until the words of Theos are finished. All of this will happen until the teachings of Theos are taught throughout the earth. This includes the revealing of the true meaning of the scriptures of Theos. This will be preached throughout the earth before the beast finally brings on its own destruction. And the confidant wife which you saw is the great city, the harlot, the new Babylon, the United States, which rules over the rulers of the planet Earth, the true red and black Arabs.